Burnham, I gotta tell you something, man. You've got an opportunity here. I'm giving you an opportunity. Let me tell you the tale. Let me speak you the ballad. Let me weave you the web surrounding Owen Benjamin. Do you even know who that is? I think it'd be hilarious if you didn't. Because I barely. Owen Benjamin had a dream, and his dream was to be a tall person who got attention. And he was living his dream. He was living his dream, and he was, his parents were college professors. That's a full class above the likes of me. College professors, he was a tall guy. I think he did some sports. He had popular friends. There were also a class, you know, that slightly upper classish. And he worked his way through college, and he moved out, I think, to California to pursue his dream of doing stand-up comedy. He did stand-up comedy for a while. And he was doing all right for himself. People were excited about him back home. My dad wouldn't shut the fuck up about him because he had him in his classroom. Friends on Facebook or some shit. Owen Benjamin had a style. He had kind of shitty stand-up, and then it was supplemented by he'd go around to a piano. And he'd do some stuff on a piano because he could play piano. He was a tall guy. He had that finger spread that you need for piano. And then, you know, he went to the same school as me. I know their music program got cut pretty bad. It wasn't a private school, it was a public school. We faced a lot of cuts before we even got here. Before we even got there. So it didn't have the foundations were not strong for his plunking. But he did like, I think he would do like, hey, every song sounds like Canon in D. Here's some songs that sound like Canon in D. Like that sort of humor. That was what he was doing, probably 2008. Right around the time you hit the scene, man. He was making some kind of life for himself doing that shit. And Bo Burnham showed up. And it's funny, I feel like I could put Owen Benjamin into your exact circumstances, I'd probably come out with something closer to Bo Burnham. But it didn't work that way. We were the underdogs in that equation. He had no hope of matching your fucking skill. Maybe it was talent too. I think you might be, I don't know who's taller. I don't know. He could not compete. He got one movie with Anna Faris. It was a big deal. He did something in the vicinity of Christina Ricci and went out with Christina Ricci for a brief time. That was the biggest thing to happen to his career, was just being associated with Christina Ricci for a little while. He came through at one point, and my friend worked at Burn Dairy, which is a store. Sells like gas and dairy products and like a regular store. And he saw Christina Ricci in there. That was it. That was the end of that story. Big deal in a fucking shit town like this one. But you boxed him out, man. People saw Bo Burnham and they were like, oh, Jesus, that's what a musical comedian looks like? What are we doing listening to these fucks talk about how everything's canon in D? Let's listen to original music. It's cool, man. I thought you were cool. I thought if you got a co-writer or a collaborator at any point before 2013, you could have turned us all around, but it's too fucking late now. You're fucking worthless. I'm gonna burn you to the fucking ground. When I tell a story, I like to pepper threats to Bo Burnham into that story. It's a theme. I'm trying to honor the history of people making wild, grandiose threats on the internet. Just trying to honor the memory. I've got 3.5 hours for this segment. That's it. I'm not comfortable with that. So just when his career was starting to pick up some steam, you came on the scene. And even though I don't think you did much touring, or like, it's not like you were going to open mics to see what worked, or I don't think you did much of that. Right? That was the whole fucking narrative about all of the fucking appearances I saw you on. You're from the online. You're gonna tell us about how the internet works. Welcome to the internet, you dumb fuck. You boxed him out, man. I don't know how else to say it. He wasn't a good enough stand-up comedian without the piano. And he was not even close to being good enough on the piano to compete at all with you. And as soon as you showed up on the scene, I'm sure he probably felt like a fucking idiot showing up with that piano, where people might be expecting him to do something other than like the one classical song he had to memorize when he first took piano lessons. You know what I mean? Like, that was the kind of piano player he was. Like, my parents paid for a couple of years of piano lessons at home. It wasn't. He got himself a TBS show. I'm sure that Sun is in the name. Now, I don't know, or I never watched it or anything. But he got himself on TBS, and that's kind of the dream of a comedian. He'll turn your job into a job that'll sustain you for longer and isn't quite as demanding long term. But he wasn't talented. Talk about problematic. His acting experience was a show called Gay Town, which I'm pretty sure was an internet-only show about bad stand-up comedians putting on gay lisps to make their content seem relevant to a society that was a bit gay crazy at that point. So there's a lot of similarities, Bo. But he didn't have even a quarter of that fucking membrane that you do. He'd been shaving down his bones, and they had entered the bloodstream. And I have to blame you for that. Once you showed up, I think you started shaving them harder, or something went wrong. He wound up with chunks of racist bone in his bloodstream. It's too bad. We got a black president, and he decided that he didn't like that idea. He was on board with everyone questioning I don't know, what was everyone thinking, making a black person a president? He lost his audience to you. So he went for the other audience. The audience of people that are quiet around liberals and won't shut the fuck up when they feel like they're safe from anyone criticizing them. And that's what Owen Benjamin became, was just another talking head idiot who was willing to say things about blacks and Jews and Mexicans that everyone else likes saying when they're racist. And they've got racist bone fragments swirling around their bloodstream. And then he started growing his bone back out. And he got deplatformed for asking the real questions, that sort of thing. And as far as I know, I think he got a show on one of the racist ones, one of the racist platforms. And last I heard, he was, people were protesting his efforts to build himself a compound out west. Just a compound, like you do. I'm not saying that this is a cautionary tale. I'm saying you did this. Your shitty songs radicalized that guy and all of his fans. Is it worth it?